Today I'd like to talk about the two mindsets that all tennis players have to deal with. The first mindset is the overactive mind that wants to control everything. You're thinking too much out on the court. And the second mindset is the doer mindset, where you're not thinking about, finishing over the shoulder, bend the knees, whatever. You're reacting with your game. So you're letting it happen. The doer mindset lets it happen. The doer mindset has confidence and trust in their abilities, in their strokes, and in their decision-making, shot selection. So basically, these two mindsets fall into, the first one is the learning mindset. When you're out practicing, you're thinking about finishing over the shoulder or getting lower, bending your knees. But that's the practice mindset. And the other mindset is the performance mindset, where you're in the match now and you're trusting your strokes and your abilities, and you're reacting with your game. You're letting it happen. And the problem is that perfectionist tennis players, they get stuck in the learning mindset. Okay, they're overthinking. They want their technique to be perfect. And the performance mindset allows your skills that you've worked on in practice to happen instinctively. And it's based on what you've learned in practice. You're in a trusting mode. Your performance is now on autopilot. So, as a good match player, you need two things. You need a solid foundation for all your strokes. That includes everything: forehands, backhands, ground strokes, volleys, overheads, lobs, everything, drop shots. You need a solid foundation. And number two, you have to have confidence. You have to have trust in your strokes and allow yourself to play instinctively in matches. Now, the key to having confidence and trust is to understand that your strokes abide by the laws of physics. You have to, no matter who you are, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, or Joe Smith, you have to abide by the laws of physics to be a good tennis player. Now, let me explain a little bit. As an example, take a forehand, a simple forehand, okay? There are many ways to hit a forehand. You'll see different little nuances and techniques that players use at the tour level, or you see even more at the recreational level. But if those players are to be really consistent and have confidence, they have to abide by physical laws, by the laws of physics. When you hit a tennis ball, you have to abide by those laws. Now, as an example with the tour, you've got, typically nowadays, people, when they take the racket back on the forehand, it's a high take back, and we see the separation of the hands, and the racket is up high. So I think of it as a 5-point forehand. Number one is here, here's number two, number three is when I drop the racket down, 4 is contact, and 5 is over the shoulder. So let's say that's your typical forehand on the ATP Tour and the WTA. But did you know, if you just go back a few years, and actually one of these players is on the tour now, they had different takebacks, different type strokes. Here's two players. Kamiko Date from Japan. She reached number 4 in the world. And Benoit Paire, who's still playing today, reached 18 in the world. I think Benoit won about 18 million on the tour and Kamiko about 4 million, because she was back, you know, later. Prize money wasn't so much, but the thing, not bad. But the thing is, both of those players, even though they didn't have the high take back like this, they still abided by the laws of physics, and they were very, very successful at what they do. So with Kamiko and Benoit, they just go from here to there. They go from the ready position to the low point of the backswing. That was it. Simple. From the ready position to the low point of the backswing. Now, granted, you know, coming back high like this, getting that torque and letting the racket drop, which helps you create more acceleration so you can get more power, yeah, that's great. And I understand why players do it. I do it myself. But the point I'm trying to make is they just went from here to there, and they would swing forward from there. Did they have power? Yes, they could still generate some power. But the key is they were abiding by the laws of physics, just like the players that take the racket back high and then come down. So let's just go over the most important part of the forehand. So what is the most important part of the forehand? It's what you do from the low point of the backswing. So whether you're a player that brings the racket back high or just goes straight to the low point like Kamiko and Benoit, it's what you do from that point, from the low point of the backswing. The low point of the backswing is key. It's key for, number one, net clearance. Because if you're not low enough, you're not going to clear the net. So, from that low point, all right, let's say I'm hitting, let's say a waist-high ball or so, somewhere around here. When I drop it down, from here is going to be the most important part, from what I do from here. So as I come up to hit the ball, boom. I'm going to be vertical here every time. That's the second key, because this is what counts in tennis. It doesn't matter if it's Joe Smith or Novak Djokovic. Okay, so low point, contact, and what you do in between. Because from here, you have to keep the forearm and the wrist in a nice steady position and swing from the front of your shoulder so that when I come up to hit the ball, the racket will always be vertical. That's the key. And it doesn't matter, you know, if your arm is extended out straight when you hit that or slightly bent, because there are players that do it both ways as well. Roger Federer has his arm out a little more. It's like a straight arm when he makes contact. Djokovic and Murray, they have a slight bend in the elbow. Those are little nuances, differences that players have, but they're both abiding by those laws of physics. So remember that the key point is what you do from here, the low point. As you swing up, if you have movement with the forearm, you're not sure what you're going to get at contact. See, you want to make sure that the swing comes from here, the front of the shoulder. So if that swing is coming from the front of the shoulder and my racket is a foot below the ball and the racket face is closed, I am guaranteed vertical here for the rest of my life. So yeah, I'm going to make mistakes once in a while, but I have confidence in the shot. I'm going to feel free to swing in a match. I'm not going to be thinking about, a foot below or make sure my racket face is closed. I've done all that in practice. I have confidence, I have trust in my ability to hit that forehand 9.5 times out of 10. I'm going to make mistakes once in a while. Yes, I have to deal with that. That's the hard part for a lot of players. The perfectionist players, if they make a mistake, they overanalyze, they start thinking about all this stuff, and then their game, you get paralysis by analysis. You're thinking too much, you're not letting your game happen. You have to react instinctively when you're playing a match. But what I'm trying to say is, because I'm good at helping people get confidence in their strokes, and that's one of my specialties as a coach. I can help you get the confidence you need in your strokes, so when you get into a match, you're playing instinctively, you have trust, and you have confidence. So that's the key. You have two mindsets, opposing mindsets that are not easy to deal with. We want to over-control things. You can't do that. You have to be in a performance mindset where you let it happen. So you can just drop hit a few. Okay, let's take a look in slow motion. The most important part of the forehand. It starts right here, right there. That's the low point of the backswing. What you do from here to contact is what really matters. Now, the swing here is going to be from the shoulder. Everything to this point was done with the shoulder. No wrist, no lower arm, no forearm. From here now, I'm going to hit through and finish high over my shoulder, right there. But is that finish over the shoulder the most important thing? No, not really. And sometimes I may finish lower or higher or back over my head. It all depends on the shot that I'm hitting. What really matters is from that low point to the contact point. That's what you really have to focus on and have trust in your ability. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video and picked up a few tips there. And if you need help with your strokes, I am here to help you. But you have to remember, there's two mindsets: practice, performance. You want to have confidence and trust in your strokes. It has to be so solid that when you're playing a match, you're on instinct. You play instinctively. And have some fun out there. Have fun out there. Do something creative once in a while. And, tennis is not rocket science. You know, basically, hit cross court. When you attack, go down the line. And, you know, you have to have confidence and trust in your abilities. But you have to abide by the laws of physics. Always remember that. So, if you need help with your game, check my website. I've got a lot of courses there that can help you become the best tennis player you can be. All the best and have a great day.